destruction. But these prophecies were
listen up, listen up, listen up.
revealed to the prophets in different time periods. The Lord said before they come to pass, he tells you of them. So this is what we're reading here. We're reading about the destruction of America, and nobody out there can tell you, it's a great millstone, and some of the other camps that do prophesy, what this means. You'll have individuals that say this is talking about ancient Babylon, this, that, and the other. But then when you ask them certain questions as to, okay, so what major war took place, that fulfilled this? What major event in history took place that fulfilled, the total annihilation and destruction, of Babylon, the Neo Babylonian Empire? And then they can't,
which is Iraq, the area of Iraq,
give you anything.
Let me bring that back. Bring it back.
Fulfill this. What this means? You'll have individuals that say this is talking about ancient Babylon, this, that, and the other. But then when you ask them certain questions as to, okay, so what major war took place, that fulfilled this? What time periods? And
listen up.
Jeremiah 50, Jeremiah 51, Isaiah 13, Isaiah 14, Revelation 17, Revelation.
He bid that from me.
18. These are all judgments of the Lord on the same place. But these prophecies were revealed to the prophets in different time periods. The Lord said before they come to pass, he tells you of them.
All these major prophecies of the end time destruction is the same prophecy, but different prophets saw it in different scenarios. Let's listen on. I'll give you the title of this video in a minute.
So this is what we're reading here. We're reading about the destruction of America, and nobody.
So he's saying Jeremiah chapter 50. He's in Jeremiah chapter 51, but he's been mentioning Jeremiah 50 and 51 over the weekend and last weekend and the weekend before that. We've been trying to go through these prophetic books. We've been, like I said, for the last almost, I guess, 3-4 weeks, we've been trying to tackle Jeremiah 50, and we're still in Jeremiah 50, but we're starting to get some progress. You know how that go. Precept come up, another precept come, another topic, subtopic come up. So we're in the 21st, 22nd verse of Jeremiah 50, and I guess I caught this video in the middle, so I pulled it back to the beginning. I said, let me pull it back to the beginning. So I'm up to this point now. But so I'm figuring Apostle Ramlab is going through this because we went through it. So he's kind of lambacking off what we say. And I'll listen to this again. Listen to this. You know what? Let me see what I had some titles in my head. Let me play this one more time.
This place, mentally coming out of this place. You still have.
I was watching Charlie Kirk's funeral, nothing but Edomites. And I didn't see one Negro in there. Nothing but wall-to-wall Edomites.
Have to function, but your energy should be that any day this place can go down. All right? It says, be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. So the Lord is going to judge this place. And it's Jeremiah 50, Jeremiah 51, Isaiah 13, Isaiah 14, Revelation 17, Revelation 18. These are all judgments of the Lord.
Coming judgments, coming judgments, coming judgments. By the way, the title for this video is even ChatGPT says Babylon 50 has nothing to do with Neo Babylon. Okay? That's what the apostle said in the video. You watched the video from the beginning. And like I said, we're trying to stay in the spirit of going through these breakdowns, these full breakdowns. Because you got brothers that go to precept this and precept that. If a Christian says, well, what does 2 verses above that mean? You got to know the whole chapter. And Christians don't know the Bible. As I've been saying, Christians don't know the prophecy. They don't know the Bible, but they don't know the prophecies. You go into any prophetic book and they're lost. I'm talking about guys like Vocab, God Logic. They don't know none of the, guarantee you. You know, you go to Revelation 50, they won't know where to start, how to break it down. But Chat knows. Chat knows. Chat said it. So when I'm watching this video, I said, let me go ask Chat. Because we know that Isaiah 50 and Isaiah 51 definitely talking about a future event. It's not talking about Neo Babylon of circa 600 or so years. You know, it's not talking about, it's definitely not talking about that. But like I said, let me go ahead, since I was getting into this video, it's good to get into these breakdowns, these chapter breakdowns, especially the prophetic chapter breakdowns. I said, well, let me see what Chat says about it. I haven't asked Chat. Hey, Chat, the video I did yesterday, what is it? Focuses on America, not Africa. The deliverance comes from America, not Africa. Great video, because I went to Chat. Spirit told me, not something, but the Spirit told me, the Great Spirit said, go to the Chat and ask the Chat. So I presented the question. You can watch on the video. Then it didn't say nothing about America, but then I what did I say? The backup question was, well, couldn't this be talking about America? And Chat said, yeah, this could very well be talking about America. So Chat gave me see, when you got to trick the Chat. You got to ask him ask a question, then you got to ask a question on top of that. You know? Because it's programmed to give you certain information. So you got to trick them. Let's listen to a little bit more. So I gave you the title. And like I said, you'll never see these Christians roll up on an Israelite camp and say, well, let's go into Revelation 11. I bet you they will never do that, because they don't know prophecy. Vocab will tell you himself he don't know prophecy. But if he's around us, he'll make something up. That's why if Vocab and let's say Vocab and God Logic roll up on us and we talk, we're not going to call the cops. We're going to talk going into prophecy. But we control the narrative. You need us. We're the A side. We say what's up. If you don't like it, you can walk on down the street. We control the narrative from this day forward, henceforth and forevermore. So I would say, okay, I'm going to ask you a quick question about prophecy, Revelation 11, let's say, or whatever. But this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to say, Vocab, could you do me a favor? Could you walk down the street about 100 yards or whatever, walk down the football field away, whatever, walk down the street and say that I'm going to ask God Logic this question, and I'm going to see what his answer is, and then I'm going to call you, and I'm going to ask you the same question. I guarantee you they're going to have different answers. They're going to be catching them head. They're going to be catching them, scratching them head. Inside joke. Anyway, let's listen to this one more time. I'm going to go to Chat.
On the same place. But these prophecies were revealed to the prophets in different time
What did
periods.
I tell you? If you go to
the Lord said
Charlie Kirk, a live funeral, whatever dedication, I was trying like hell to catch a token up in there. I ain't catch one. Everybody in there is Edomites, man. Everybody. This country is divided. Everybody in there is Edomites. I ain't see no Moabites in there. The only motherfuckers I saw was Edomites. There might have been one coon out there, you know, cleaning the floor or something. Nothing but Edomiteville.
Before they come to pass, he tells you of them. So this is what we're reading here. We're reading about the destruction of America.
So Jake ain't feeling Esau no goddamn more, except for their women.
And nobody out there can tell you, you know, outside of the prophets of Great Millstone and, you know, some of the other camps that
yeah, One Westers, they know them scriptures, they know them prophetic breakdowns.
that do prophesy, you know, what this.
The One Westers are the former Israelites from One West, former One Westers. We know the whole book. We know all the breakdowns. That's not just GMS. That's all of the One West camps. But we specialize in it, you know. We specialize in them prophetic breakdowns because we always going through them. Like I said, keep going through them. Okay, now we're going to go to Revelation 18. One of my favorite prophetic scriptures. Very simple. If I teach you that, if I go through it, you should get it. You shouldn't have to come back. What was that? You should get it because it's a very simple breakdown, but it's important. Revelation 11 is another prophetic. The whole chapter is prophetic. And once I break it down, you pretty much should understand it. There's some breakdowns where you got to kind of do a lot of explaining, like 2nd Ezra 11, 2nd Ezra 12, which we're the only ones that the Spirit opened up our eyes to understand. It has nothing to do with America. So you One Westers don't jump up and say, well, let's talk about America. Not talking about the eagle is on fire, it's America. Nope, it has nothing to do with America. Even High Priest Ariah said that because he didn't know the Spirit didn't give him the breakdown.
This means, you'll have individuals that say this is talking about ancient Babylon, this, that, and the other. But then when you ask them certain questions, that's okay. So what major war took place, that fulfilled this? What major event in history took place that fulfilled, the total annihilation?
None.
And destruction, of Babylon, of the Neo Babylonian Empire, and they can't give you anything because the scriptures tell us what happened to the Neo Babylonian Empire. It was absorbed into the Middle Persian Empire overnight, just like that. So it says Babylon has been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made the earth drunken. Right, same deal with Revelation.
Made the earth drunken. Made the earth drunken. Not through wine, not through strong drink, but through their belief system. You got, how many nations? You got 196 nations, 198. I can look it up. They're going to be at the UN General Assembly tomorrow morning because they're there for like 2 weeks or whatever. Last couple of weeks in September. All the nations are going to be there. So they all drunk. They're all drunk off of that Babylon juice.
17th chapter. And how did America do that? All you have to do is look up a term called Americanization. Americanization is the influence that America has, culturally, socially, economically, so on and so forth, worldwide. This is why you have all of these different businesses, restaurants, and ideology.
Yeah, that's true too. The religion, you got a lot of countries that are Christians. They got it from America, Europe. You got the McDonald's, the KFC, which is garbage. Nobody eats this junk, but these other nations, there's a great American KFC. What else was I going to say? But the main thing is their politics, the leaders. Anybody that's a leader of a particular, any country, he has to be a president, prime minister, so forth. Because prior to that, they were all known as kings. You had a nation, you had a king of a nation. So Esau changed and said, no, you can't have no more kings. Except for England, because the elite, the leaders of the U.S. answered to the king. Now the king used to be the queen. So shouldn't you be hateful for a king? The separation was America was different because we don't have kings. See, people can choose. You can be a poor boy, live in a log cabin, and then you can grow up to be the president. It doesn't. It's even in the Constitution. You cannot receive a title of nobility if you're an American. Like Trump cannot be called King Trump, even though we call him King Nero Trump. And the queen, the king can't say, okay, you're King Trump. No, that's going against the Constitution. No titles of nobility. Any person can become, the president. All right? Wink, wink, nod, nod.
Of America in those different countries. but in their particular languages. It says the nations have drunken over wine, therefore the nations are mad, meaning they bugged out.
Their democracy, their money system, they're all under. They all agree that the what is it? The Bretton Woods Conference. Bretton Woods Conference. Let's go to that. That's when here is Bitcoin. He was against Bitcoin. Now he's for it. Digital currency. America being the under the Bretton Woods Conference. I didn't know what to say. Give me a second. Let's see what's up. Okay. Okay, it's centered around economy, right? Before the end of World War II, the World Reserve currency was based out of Great Britain. The Bretton Woods Conference in 1944 established a new post-World War II international monetary system where the U.S. dollar was the world's reserve currency. Now it's called a petrodollar. That means I'm gonna break it down to y'all. Russia wants to buy gas from Iraq, Iran, or whatever. They have to take the ruble. They have to convert it into Federal Reserve notes, and they're gonna have to buy from Iraq, Iran, and they're gonna and whatever money they get, they have to convert it. If Iran buys stuff from China, they got to convert it to the U.S. dollar or the Federal Reserve note. That's what prior to that was England currency peg. So that's what that's talking about. That's what that's talking about. Drunken. Their money system and their politics. Then on a lower level, your Christianity, your McDonald's. Let me see. Reserve currency pegged, but pegged to gold, meaning it was supposed to be gold back. Nixon in '71 took the dollar off the gold standard, and the prices went up and 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 up. That time, a troy ounce of gold was $35. Used to be $20. Now it's almost $4,000. Did the gold go up? Nope. The money went down. And other nations peg their countries to the dollar. So that's a part of that drunken with they said, oh, this is a good idea. Our money would be good. Our Federal Reserve notes will be good because we can always change to the gold. Because they started panicking at one time, certain nations, and buying up gold. You got Russia and China and other nations, they're buying up gold. And banks, the Federal Reserve bank system, which is a system in this country, they got gold. They ain't giving you gold. Used to be a time where you can go to a bank and bring in a $20 gold certificate and say, give me a piece of gold. They give you gold. I don't got that no more. That's what the vaults were all about. In the vaults was gold and silver. The United States was the organizing nation and the largest global economy at that time, holding most of the world's gold reserves. Now, prior to that, was at 33, the whole Fort Knox thing. When Trump came in, the first thing he said, we're going to find out if there's gold in Fort Knox. And I'll say I believe that shit when I see it. For 2 weeks, we're gonna go to Fort Knox and we're gonna see. And if there's no gold in there, somebody's in big trouble. And guess what? They never went there. Never went there. Allowing the U.S. to enjoy lower interest rates, right? Facilitate its trade and budget deficits. The system collapsed in 1971. No, it didn't collapse. Nixon pulled it, separated the gold from the U.S. dollar. When the U.S. ended the dollar's convertibility to gold, meaning they're going to print money. Back then they printed money. Now they create money out of air and print money. So that's what that's all about. So The world had to accept it. You have a system called the SWIFT. Let me do that. Let me do this. What is the SWIFT money system? The SWIFT system is a global communication network that enables banks and financial institutions. That politics shit is down. You know, it's the politics are based upon money. They put people in there. The super elite rich, they don't want to be presidents. That's a crappy job. That's management, lower management, right? But the American people don't know. Oh, this guy Trump, he's a leader of the free world. No, he's just a manager at McDonald's. Institutions to send and receive information about financial transactions, acting as a secure and standardized way to send payment instructions and other financial. It's all about money. The golden rule is he that has the gold rules, but it does not hold funds or process the actual money transfer itself. That's through the World Reserve currency itself. Think of it as a secure digital, because it's a new system, digital post office for banks, ensuring clear, fast, and reliable communication for international trade and finance. So they deal with the SWIFT system. Let me ask this. Let me ask this question. What countries utilize the SWIFT system? I want a list here. Okay, the SWIFT system is utilized by financing institutions in over 200 countries. That's about right. There's about 200 countries around the world. Countries and territories worldwide, though the specific number of institutions. Right, you got countries, then you got institutions. You got banks, right? You got corporations. And their usage of the, you got a system called the BIS, the Bank of International Settlements. They can do whatever the fuck they want. They can close all the banks around the world. They can do whatever. So when they bring that digital system, that's when everything gonna change. There's gonna be a Federal Reserve system, but it's gonna be digital. System varies. While there are many countries where institutions utilize SWIFT, a key aspect of the system is its operation as a messaging network for financial institutions to communicate about transactions rather than a system that is used by countries in geopolitical sense. So when the apostle said, you know, he went into they drunk with the wine, it's mainly the money system. You know, because if I'm worth $1 trillion, $5 trillion, I can become the secret president of India or whatever. All I got to do is I can pay him off. I can say I give you $10 million. You do this, do what I say. That's a puppet, you know. So that's what that's talking about. Everybody's connected to this system really through the money. Not even so much politics. Politics is just a front. Anyway, I'm sorry. Let me come on back. Y'all got to understand them you know, them different systems, man.
But also, you know, they're pissed off.
And I knew, like I said, Trump said, we're going to go to the Fort. I said, nah, that nigga ain't going to Fort Knox. He ain't going to Fort. I said, I'll believe it when I see it. Then all of a sudden, it disappeared from the news.
Because they're, you know, they took on the identity, so to speak, of America.
The mark of the beast is going to be a system where the Federal Reserve note is going to be digitalized. There'll be a world dollar, a world currency, and everything's going to be digital. You can have your smartphone. What if you lose your smartphone? Somebody uses it, takes your money. We're going to stop that to protect against that. If you get the chip, Nobody can steal unless they cut your hand off. And if you come in the store with a bloody hand, they're gonna know you chop somebody's hand off. Niggas are gonna do that. We're gonna chop the nigga hand off, and then they found 3 YNs with a white man's hand trying to make purchases. You know? So for you camps out there, you're gonna look stupid. You're gonna really, really, really look stupid when we've been talking about since we got on YouTube, before we got on YouTube. You're gonna really, and we broke it down to the lowest common denominator. You know, even a caveman can understand it. When that thing actually comes, that's when you're gonna get effed up in the head.
Okay. So they're bugged out of their mind, but then also they're pissed off because they're seeing that
they're pissed off. They're going to be pissed off because they drunk the Babylon juice, and they're finding out the Babylon juice, which is really the money system, it ain't working. You can't buy shit with this money. You know, that's what what is it? James chapter 5 was all about. By fraud, right? The laborers that reap down your wall, they're talking about the whole planet. They trusted in your money system. They called you out on fraud. Now these Edomites, the prices done went up. The prices done went up because Trump issued tariffs when he first got in office, and you were clapping. Yeah, we're going to bring tariffs against the Chinese. Tariffs against this. The financial news said it's going to kick in. And it just kicked in, August, September, the exact date. And now you got all these videos. The price went up and doubled and it tripled. And I took a picture last week and it was one price. Now it's triple the price. Yeah, because you were cheering Trump for issuing terrorists to the world. Who do you think you get all this stuff from? You think Keebler elves make shit for you? You got Keebler elves making food for you? No. Or anything. It's coming from China and around the world. European countries, Latin America. Your bananas come from... Bananas are not grown... I don't know if they went up there and told you. Bananas are not grown in America. Show me a banana tree. Maybe you could. I bet you they're not good GMO bananas. Bananas were introduced to the U.S., I believe the 50s, if I'm not mistaken. Pizzerias. That was introduced after what? World War II, when the GIs came back. They were eating the pizza when they were stationed in Italy, man. So y'all don't know what's going on. Hey, the prices, well, I don't know what to do. I'm going to go to another country, and guess what? The same thing going to happen in the other country. Y'all don't know what the fuck's going on. And that's exactly how the elite wants you to be. You don't know what's going on. You're in the dark.
The deals that they made with America are not really benefiting them the way that America told them that it would.
Yeah, because of inflation. What they can buy 20 years ago is going to cost maybe triple. So they said, well, why are we dealing with this? We lose the value of the Federal Reserve. Everything is based upon, you have to convert everything to federal, even Russia. You have to convert. That showed you that America is over Russia. Okay, that's why Russia's going to shoot missiles on America. Because you got a fast one pull over on you. And they know the game now. These other nations know the game. But when they go to speak out against it, they get threatened. Or they get paid off. Or we're going to give you, just shut up. They give you $100 million, just shut the fuck up. Nah, I'm going to tell the truth. Okay, boom, you're going to get, as they say, Charlie, you're going to get Charlied, man.
The way that they perceived it in their mind.
And that whole Charlie thing, the story keeps changing. The story keeps changing. So we don't know what's really going on. And everybody's pointing the finger to guess who your favorite country.
So what they're doing is they're speaking against this place. They got issues with America. They're pissed off, and eventually that's going to cause them to retaliate by, the ones that do have missiles, shooting missiles on America. All right? And that's the way this place is going to go out. That's how the whole land is going to be utterly wasted. This is what the scripture
Yeah,
says.
because they messing up their money. So ultimately, that's called a Cold War. Go from Cold Wars, always turn into hot wars or kinetic wars. Kinetic wars.
Say in Second Peter, the 3rd chapter, that the day cometh. I'm sorry, that's in Malachi. In Second Peter, the 3rd chapter, where it says that the Lord is going to destroy this place, by fire. It says Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed, right? Because it's only going to take 1 hour. It's not going to take that long. How for her take balm for her pain, if so be she may be healed, right? So, what great event in history took place that fulfilled this? That Babylon was suddenly fallen and destroyed. There was no event. There was no war that was fought. There was no great fire that happened that is in history, whether biblical or secular, that describes or explains what the scripture here means. It says we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed, right? Because no matter what you do, no matter how many deals you sign, no matter how many stimulus packages or how many QE packages, or no matter what you do, there's nothing that you could do to turn around your fate. You're circling the drain. You're spiraling out of control, and you're circling the drain. And this devil Trump pretty much is a visual picture of what's happening to America. They're just going headlong. This guy is a maniac. He's a goddamn maniac. It says, forsake her and let us go everyone to his own country. Yeah, because eventually these nations, they're seeing that doing business here in America is not.
Ain't no money out here. But not only other nations. I was watching a video. I subscribed to this chick. She only puts white people on, this pretty black chick. She puts videos of white people, how they suffering. So the last video she put up, there's a series of different white people, husband and wife and kids, and each video they all going, leaving the country. They said, we're going to Mexico. We're packing up our stuff, and we're going to Italy. We're packing up our stuff, and we're going to Canada. And we're packing up our stuff, and we're going to Germany or whatever. And then they did the research. So when you go to Isaiah 13, it's not just foreigners leaving, it's regular Edomites leaving. Jake ain't going no goddamn way. They ain't going to go back to Africa. Africa's beginning to boom, by the way. They're doing what China's been doing for years. Through the help of China.
Productive, or should I say is not profitable. So they're taking their businesses out of America, going back to their countries, paying a lot less to make their products, and then just shipping them here to sell them here. You see, because they still have a vested interest in making that money. Economically, that's how these nations became rich. Not with the Vatican, not with ancient Babylon, over there in Iraq, but with America. It says, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies, right? Because the Lord, now is starting to visit, the earth, because it's about time for the Lord to this place. And that's why you see all the prophecies popping off as in such a fast rate as it is, because we're witnessing the downfall of this place. We're witnessing the Lord's words being fulfilled on the earth, because the prophets have been prophesying, and after the prophets prophesy after a certain period of time.
Yeah, just like we prophesy about the MOTB, that's a prophecy. And we telling you what it means, and when these other camps, on One Westers and other camps, they're gonna see it when it comes to pass. When they get a deadline, look, if you want to buy something, if you want to go to the store, if you want to eat, you're going to have to get that chip. You got two choices. You can put it in your right hand. If you're in Europe, you can put it in your left hand. Or you can put it, the deluxe model is putting it in your brain. Most Jakes ain't going to go with that. Ain't nobody want to know. Anybody in the right mind, well, I'm going to open up your brain. No. You ain't opening shit. But they'll go with the chip. It's like you get an earring or something, or tattoos. Watch all these pastors, these black pastors and these Edomite pastors. I'm gonna see how they're gonna push it out there, especially the black churches. They don't push it out there for these people that don't know the scriptures. I wonder what God, Logic, and Vocab going to do when they get presented with the chip. But you're going to miss a couple of meals, you're going to take that chip.
The Lord will bring in the judgment. And we're witnessing the last final stages of the sentencing stage, as they call it. Which they've been read the charges, and now once the charges are finished being read, which they've been being read for the longest, then the Lord is going to bring the actual judgment that he said. So the Lord had brought forth our righteousness. Come and let us declare in Zion the work of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Shai power. Make bright the arrows, gather the shields. Right. So make bright the arrows. There's nothing bright about an arrow. The reason why arrows are used, like a regular arrow, is because
that's code. The scriptures speak of code. That's why they don't outlaw the book in America, at least, because it's written in code. And Yahweh Bashem Yahushai has given us the cheat codes, which you call the Holy Spirit. We can see these things because the Holy Spirit is on us, in us, around us.
Because of the stealthiness of it, the quietness of an arrow. You have a bow and arrow, they're usually quiet, and you could take somebody out, without them even knowing. But the bright arrows is talking about the missiles. You have the fire that comes when you look at a missile being shot, whether it's a nuclear missile or a regular missile, you'll see fire coming out of it. In other scriptures, it calls it a glittering spear. These are all code names for the missiles today, because back then they didn't have the terminology such as nuclear missile or hydrogen bomb or anything like that. So they had the prophets wrote it in the fashion or in the wording that they understood back then, describing what they saw. All right, gather the shields. The Lord hath raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes. See, and this is dealing with the Russians, the kings of the Medes, because Russia has that land of the Medes stems from the northern part going into what they call Georgia. It used to be called Georgia, Russia, in that region, and even above that, because you had all of that was no man's land at one time. But this is where
the Medes, okay, if you go to the land of the Medes, because that's what the prophet saw. And if you the missiles, Russia is beyond the land of the Medes. John saw the Mede. He was familiar with that landmass, but he saw a wilderness behind him, or Isaiah, Jeremiah. Russia would be northeast of the land of the Medes. That's why in Isaiah 13 it said the Medes. It wasn't talking about the actual Medes. It was talking about Russia. Because remember, that was no man's land. You went to Russia, there was nothing there. There was no name, no signs, no houses. There were animals out there. And it was Jake that founded so-called Russia.
Russia pretty much came from the Medes, spreading out that way. Now, the ancient Medes, which were Japhet, they were actually brown-skinned people.
Yeah, they were joined forces with the Persians, or Elam.
When Esau came and took over that region called Russia today, they actually, encompass all of that area. All right. So it says, for his device, meaning the Lord's device, is against Babylon to destroy it, because the Lord has a purpose to get rid of this place. And although people don't want to believe the scriptures, everything that we see going on prophetically is a witness that this place is about to go out. So it doesn't matter if you believe it or not. The Lord is still going to take this place out of here. So it says, because it is the vengeance of the Lord, the vengeance of his temple, right, for what they did to his people, the Israelites, what they did to us. It says, set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon, make the watch strong. Set up the watchmen, prepare the ambushes, for the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua had both devised and done that which he spake against the inhabitants of Babylon. Right, and these
inhabitants of Babylon is American people that are here in this landmass, 5,000 square miles. Anybody that's left here, because we have to be beamed up. The ships are not gonna beam up nobody from the continent of Africa, except if there's elect there. But if they don't get beamed up, they're good, because ain't no missile's gonna utterly destroy the continent of Africa. It's going to utterly destroy America. The mass majority of the elect is here in America. The majority of the 144,000, they're here in America, so they're gonna have to be beamed up, and the multitude behind them gonna have to be beamed up into the ships. Y'all, I don't know if y'all kept up with this. What type of missile hit this unidentified aerial IAP UFO? It hit the UFO, so-called UFO, broken into like 4 pieces, but the broken pieces followed the main piece, and then the pieces came back together like a puzzle. And then some Edomite called it, he gave it a term. He called it plasma. How did he say? He said plasma. It was in congressional Senate hearing, whatever. They were talking about UFOs, and this is recent. He called it plasma consciousness. Plasma consciousness, meaning the ship is a living being. You can't compete with motherfuckers like that. An F-35, if it gets hit, it breaks up, it's going down. It ain't going to come back together. Like Legos.
Prophecies are sure. They're going to actually happen. It says, O thou that dwellest upon many waters. And what are the many waters? It's dealing with peoples. This goes hand in hand with Revelation 17 and 15. That the waters that thou sawest are peoples and nations and tongues. And America happens to be known as the great melting pot. You have all different nations from all over the world speaking all different languages here. So this is the many waters, abundant in treasures. Right. They are abundant in treasures. And there's another word in here, right? Let me see. Let me just click here. 13th verse. I believe it's the 41st verse. Which, this is like parabolic, symbolic, but it's heavy what it says, because it ties into another precept. Let's get it first. Jeremiah 51 and 41. How is Shishak taken? And how is the praise of the whole earth surprised? How is Babylon become an astonishment among the nations? Right, because she's going to be destroyed. Now, Shishak is another name for Babylon. Right? Let's go to Shishak. Right? It says another name for Babylon, apparently taken from the goddess Shak. But what it means, Shishak, is thy fine linen. And that goes hand in hand. There's many precepts you could go to in Revelation, but one in particular that I thought of was Revelation in the 18th chapter, and right here in the 16th verse, I believe it is. Let me see. No, right here, 14th verse. And the fruits that thy soul lusted after are departed from thee, and all things which were dainty, which is this where you get the word fat, lipos, liparos, fat, and that's the American diet is the most atrocious diet on the planet. That's why everybody's so goddamn, especially nowadays. My goodness, you have lumps on top of lumps, on top of fat, on top of hills, on top of mounds, on top of mountains. It says, and goodly are departed from thee, that and thou shalt find them no more at all. Right, and when you go to this word goodly, right, that's where you get the word lampros. Right, goodly is lampros, which means shining, brilliant, clear, transparent, splendid, magnificent, splendid things. An example, luxuries or elegancies in dress or style. You see, elegancies in dress or styles, which goes with Revelation 17, right? And 4. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. So this is metaphoric for the luxurious lifestyle that is presented here in America. So Shishak is a code name for Babylon that means thy fine linen. Okay? Show you that it's parabolic talk. So we go back to the 13th verse. Right? It says, O thou that dwellest upon many waters, abundant in treasures, thine end is come, and the measure of thy covetousness. Right? Because, see, these devils think, like the scriptures say, because sentence against the evil work is not executed speedily, it is set in the heart of sons of men to do evil. So they continue to be indebted and to pile up a bill that they have never paid for, and eventually, the bill is going to come up, and the Lord is about to judge them for that. It says, the Lord Yahweh Bashem of hosts have sworn by himself, saying, surely I will fill thee with men as with caterpillars, and they shall lift up a shout against thee. Right, and there's plenty of people here, all throughout the U.S. and they're brought here, the majority of them, for judgment. The majority of these people that you see here in America, over 350 million people, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, or so, the majority of them are destined for destruction. There's only a small percentage of Israelites that are of the elect that's going to be delivered in comparison to the many peoples that are here. It says, he hath made the earth by his power, he hath established the world by his wisdom, and hath stretched out the heaven by his understanding. When he uttereth his voice, there is a multitude of waters in the heavens, and he causeth the vapors to ascend from the ends of the earth. Right, because once the Lord destroys this place, you're going to see the vapors and the fire and the smoke coming out, and the nations are going to be afar off, like it says in Revelation 18. Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, for in 1 hour such riches come to naught. I'm just merely paraphrasing. They say they saw the smoke of her torment going up.
Yeah, forgive me, I had to brush my teeth.
It says, he maketh lightnings with rain. Right, that's dealing with the missiles coming down, and bringeth forth the wind out of his treasures. And that's that.
So this Jeremiah 50 and Jeremiah 51 and Jeremiah 18, in the background when he was reading the verses in 51, I kept thinking about Revelation 18. Let me see. Waters, heavens, cause vapors. Because all these prophetic the future destruction is the same destruction. Anyway, you know what I'm gonna do? Let me do this. Oh, this is what I wanted to do. Okay, let me do this here. Bear with me for a minute, y'all. thought that was in this. Is that still in Baruch? Ain't this a bitch? I'm sorry. Let me do this. I thought it was in second Ezra's. Sword. A sword is set upon you, and who may turn it back? That's the missiles, not not one missile, but missiles. The Most High's favorite sword in the heavens. It's talking about the missiles. 21. Behold, victuals shall be good, cheap in the land. They show themselves case and shall. He who grow by the earth, sword, sword and famine and great confusion. But many perish by famine, and others that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. The sword that shall destroy them is a missile. So before that, this country is going to be laid bare. The shelves. You go to these different places now. A lot of places that you go to, a lot of places, the shelves are empty. Certain things that you want is empty. And that started during the time period of the sea ragamuffin. Prior to that, you got what you want. From what 20, 21, 22, whatever. And even today, and then the prices went up. And the government knows why it's going up, because they're making the prices go up. And I told you about how inflation works. Even 31st verse, even so, in those days, there shall be 3 or 4 left by them that search their houses with the sword, guns. So right here it's talking about a gun. Destroyed, shall the sword destroy. It's talking about missiles. Missiles, sometimes it's talking about actual sword or guns. Modern day sword. It said the sword is sent upon you, and who may turn it back? The sword is the missiles. So now let me go to chat. I didn't even read this. I just put in, it's Jeremiah 14 talking about Neo Babylon. Neo Babylon is the Babylonian Empire when Judah was taken down by the Babylonians. That's called Neo Babylon. Let me prove that to you. Neo Babylon. Let me do this. Neo Babylonian period. Right, 600, 626 BC, and 539 BC. Nebuchadnezzar. This is in the scriptures. So that's why I asked the question: is Jeremiah 50 talking about Neo Babylon? That's the Babylon that Judah was captured by the Babylonians. So this is what Chat said. Jeremiah 50 is not talking about Neo Babylon, i.e., a future or symbolic version of Babylon, such as a modern city or nation. What's that modern city or nation? Babylon the Great, the U.S. At least not in its original historical context. Let me read that again. I asked the question, is Jeremiah 50 talking about Neo Babylon, which is ancient Babylon around 600 circa? It's 629 to 580 something. That was that 70-year rule. They're taken down by the Medes. So the answer is Jeremiah 50 is not talking about Neo Babylon, i.e., a future or symbolic version of Babylon, such as a modern city or nation, at least not in its original historical context. Summary: Jeremiah 50 is a prophecy against historical Babylon, especially Neo Babylonian Empire. Nope, no, it's not. You just said it. You just contradicted yourself. Jeremiah 50 is not talking about Neo Babylon, but a modern city or nation. So right here, they lie to you. Jeremiah 50 is a prophecy against historical Babylon, specifically Neo Babylonian Empire under King Nebuchadnezzar and his successors. That's bullshit. That's not the fulfillment of Jeremiah 50. The chapter describes the coming judgment and destruction of Babylon as a divine retribution for his role in oppressing Israel and the nation. Then it oppressed Israel. It'll oppress Judah. Historical context. See, they gave you the answer. I got to go to that again. I'm sorry. Did not they give you the right answer right here? They said it's not talking about Neo Babylon. Then they go into Babylon. For out of the north, a nation will come against her. It will lay waste her land. And Neo Babylon wasn't laid waste. It was a surgical strike. I keep saying that. This likely refers to a Medo-Persian empire which conquered Babylon. See, with chat, you got to know how to read chat. You got to know when it's going off or when it's on point. What about Neo Babylon, symbolic of Babylon? Some interpret Jeremiah 50 symbolically, especially in light of the book of Revelation. There you go. Especially in light of the book of Revelation, where Babylon is used as a symbol for an evil world system. We're living in an evil world system. We're exiled in the evil world system, often equated with Rome. This is the modern Rome, historically in John's time. John saw the next Rome, the next riches, or a future anti-God global system. That's this place right here. Drunk with the wine, right? Became drunken. In futurist interpretations, which we are also known as futurists. When you read them prophecies, we say that, well, that's getting ready to happen. That's a futurist. You got Christians that are futurists. You got certain Christians that will tell you Babylon is Babylon in Revelations talking about America. Jeremiah 50 itself doesn't use symbolic or apocalyptic language like Revelation does. It names specific geographical regions, kings, and historical actors, e.g. the Medes. They don't understand. The Medes are the Russians. Jeremiah 51:11, verse 28, verse 11, verse 28. There's no clear indication that it's pointing to a future Babylon beyond the historical camp. Well, you said that your first answer, you gave the right response. Interpretive views, historical view, Jeremiah's literal prophecy about the fall of the Babylonian to the Medo-Persian Empire. It was fulfilled historically in 539 BC. There's no reference to a Neo-Babylon or symbolic Babylon here. Prophetic, typological view. Some evangelical and futurist Christians, Babylon is both a real empire and a type of foreshadowing of a future evil system. We're living in the future evil system. Jeremiah 50 and Jeremiah 51 may have dual fulfillment, and they don't have dual fulfillment. They have one fulfillment. Jeremiah didn't know that. Past Persian conquest, the future end times. Well, that's great. The future end times. And they keep calling it an evil system, right? World system. They might connect this with Revelation 17 and 18. Right, because when you read Jeremiah 50 and 51, the scholars read it, they'll take it to Revelation. So wait a minute. John was talking the same thing that Jeremiah was talking about. Because it was talking about ancient Neo-Babylon, why would they talk about it again in the book of Revelation? We're talking 700 years in the future. Jeremiah 50 is primarily about the historical Babylonian Empire, not a future symbolic Neo Babylon. Your first answer, you gave me the right answer. However, some theological traditions see a secondary or typological layer that could apply symbolically to future events, but that interpretation goes beyond the plain historical meaning of the text. Let me ask this question. Could this future Babylon be talking, I could put referred, talking about America? Question mark. The idea that Babylon and the biblical prophecy might refer to America is a popular view in some modern Christian circles. There's certain Christian groups out there that saying this Babylon that we're reading about is got to be talking about America. Here you go. You got Chat telling the truth, but you got to know how to ask the right, pose the questions the right way for Chat. You can trick her. Christian circles, especially among certain evangelical, prophetic, or futurist interpreters, that includes former members of GMS. One West. But it is not supported directly by biblical text itself and is not a mainstream scholarly view. Right, when you go to these theological cemeteries, they don't go into prophecy. That's why vocab he gets lost. If you attack him on prophecy, Revelation 18, Revelation 17, Revelation 13, Isaiah 13, Isaiah 34, where scholars will tell you that Isaiah 34 is a future event. He's lost. So going to school to learn about the scriptures is a no-no. Let's break it down carefully. Does the Bible say Babylon equals America? No. The Bible, right, it doesn't say that. You're not going to see the word America. The Bible never names America or any modern country directly. The Babylon of Jeremiah 50 to 51 is clearly historical Babylon. Nope. The first response, you said that it's not talking about that. Revelation, I'll prove that. Let me do this. My first question is Jeremiah 50 talking about Neo Babylon? Jeremiah 50 is not talking about Neo Babylon. Does the Bible say Babylon equals America? No, the Bible never names America or any modern country directly. The Babylon of Jeremiah 50 and 51 is clearly historical Babylon. And that's not what you said. Your first response to my question was different. You said no. Now you're saying yes. Revelation 17 and 18, however, presents a symbolic Babylon, a corrupt, powerful, anti-God world system. That's talking about this place right here, right here. But guess what? Scholars reference, when they're reading Jeremiah 50, 51, they always make a reference to Revelation 17 and 18, the chapters. This symbolic Babylon is where the America theory comes from. but it's interpretive, not explicit. Of course. Of course. Because some interpret it that way, others won't. But I just read that to you, that you got Christian evangelicals that do say that America's the Babylon in Revelation 18 has got to be talking about America. These are Edomites, white people, so-called. Why do some people think Babylon equals America? Some Christians see parallels between the symbolic Babylon in Revelation 17 and 18 and other and modern America, such as symbolic Babylon, Revelation 17 and 18, a wealthy global superpower. Alleged match with America. America is rich and globally influential. Okay, sits on many waters. America has global research, oceans influences. America is smack down in the middle of the two biggest oceans on the planet. The Atlantic on the east and the Pacific on the west. Let me ask Google a question. What are the two biggest bodies? Let me do this again. Or is it acting up? Bear with me for a minute, y'all. What is the two biggest bodies of water on the planet? What is the two biggest, or what are the two biggest, largest bodies of water on the planet? The two biggest bodies of water on the planet are the Pacific and the Atlantic Ocean. Did not I say that, y'all? I didn't know Google was going to say that. Did not I say that? Many waters. Let's come on back. Symbolic Babylon, alleged match with America, a wealthy global superpower. America is rich and globally influential. Sits on many waters. Now, the many waters represents people. Tells you that, and I believe that's the 15th verse. But America's smack dab in the middle of the two biggest bodies of water on the planet. The Atlantic on the east and the Pacific on the west. So we're getting it geographically, man. But like I said, the waters are referring to people, the great melting pot. See, we can eat. If you go out to middle America, you can't find no Elamite restaurant, East Indian restaurant. In New York, over here on the East Coast, you can eat any ethnic food out there, man. We eat like Greek food, Indian food. We don't even eat. You ain't gonna see us in McDonald's. Only time you see me in McDonald's if I got to use the bathroom. America has global reach, a hub of commerce and luxury. As Revelation 18, U.S. is a global economic center. At the World Trade Center, you got the One World Trade Center, which was completed. The height of it is 1,776 feet tall, which goes back to 1776, the origins. And it was completed somewhere in the end of May. They tried to complete it on May 1st, but it was when. I remember that because I kept watching when they're going to complete it. The job was to complete it on May 1st, which they didn't do. But it was sometime at the end of May, I believe. Somebody correct me. Do the research. A hub of commerce and luxury. U.S. is a global economic center. Corruption, immorality seen in U.S. media culture. This place, you can't tell me this is not a corrupt system, man. You cannot tell me Nero's not corrupt. He's the king of corruption. And everybody knows it too. Everybody knows this guy when he speaks. Everybody knows that Nero's lying. even the MAGA people, they know. Them dumbass MAGA people, they know that this ain't something. Oh, Charlie Kirk, if you don't number Edomites in there, most of them had the MAGA hats. So you still under a spell. Persecutor of saints. Persecutor of saints. Some argue increasing hostility toward ain't no hostility in Christians. It's hostility and hatred for the Israelites, which we are the saints. So stop it. Trump ain't saying, okay, round up all the Christians and we're going to kick them out the country. That ain't happening. You're going after Israelites, man. All them major cities that you're going to are cities with Israelites. Sudden destruction. Some fear future judgment on the U.S. Thank you, ChatGPT, for telling the truth, even though you be slick sometimes. But these are interpretive parallels, not textual identifications. Scholarly and theological views, mainstream scholarly views, historical, grammatical, Babylon and Revelation represents Rome. The power oppressed Christians. When John wrote, it's not about any modern country, but a symbol of a corrupt and worldly empire. So anybody that spend I don't know how many years, received any degree in a theological seminary, you got crap. Might as well take that diploma and wipe your backside with it. Future evangelical views. Revelation speaks of a future world system, probably a global government or empire. Babylon. Right. It makes it America's a global empire because of the money system, the world reserve currency, which I went into. Babylon could be a literal city, a spiritual system, or a specific nation in the end times. Some speculate America could fulfill that role. Typical view, Babylon is a symbol of a rebellion against the Most High. And Nero's not locking up Moses. He's not knocking them up. He ain't locking them up. He ain't got no problem with them. Any nations, including America, that mirrors its value could be called Babylon in spirit. Speculation versus scripture. The Bible doesn't name America. Any such identification is speculative. Cultural bias. People living in powerful nations often read themselves into prophecy. This happened with Rome, Britain, Nazi Germany, and the USSR, all Edomite power structures. Spiritual focus. The main message of Revelation is to call the Most High's people out of the worldly compromise, not to make newspaper level predictions. The prediction is prophecy. Prophecy is a big part of the Bible, which is prediction. Prediction means means before, and dictation, or it means to say before. Another way of saying prophet. Conclusion, could Babylon refer to America? Possibly as a spiritual or symbolic application. If America embodies Babylon-like values, pride, immorality, and justice, that's America. That defines America in three words: pride, immorality, and injustice. Like I said, Nero's not telling these ice guys to grab up Mo's. You can be a Mo in this society. You can have Mo parades. In Israel, Tel Aviv, Pink City, you can have Mo parades. So that's not the kingdom. Not directly, as there's no biblical text that identifies America specifically, meaning you're not going to see the word America. Right, the Bible's written in code. We have to speak in code. More broadly, Babylon is prophecy represents any rebellious world power opposed to the Most High, past, present, or future. So that's bingo. That's America, right? Would you like to explore a deeper. No, I don't. No, I do not. Anyway, shalom. On to the next shalom.